Namaskar, Namaskar. Welcome you back again to another session of SANNIDHAN. Today we will be discussing the Indian philosophy part of Civil Services Mains 2020 paper, 2020 paper. Basically, we will be dealing with the section B of paper 1, which deals with Indian philosophy. So let's start without wasting any moment. So the first question, the fifth question, A says, examine the concept of karma according to Jainism and how does it bear upon their conception of liberation. So basically, you must be knowing that the karma according to Jainism is more of a moral agent theory or moral karma theory. For example, you must be knowing that we have discussed in detail on the Mumukshu session in Jainism that there are two types of karmas that are there in Jainism. One is Ghatya karma and another is Aghatya karma. Ghatya karma are something which has a bearing that it might make your liberation a very long process because it will try to obstruct the process of liberation. And there were some like the what you say Mohaniya karma and Gyan Varaniya karma, Darshan Varaniya karma and Antaraya karma. They are the Ghatya karmas. Aghatya karmas are Ayu, Nama, Gotra and Vedaniya karmas, which don't have any bearings on the liberation of a Jaina or a monk or someone, because they are a part of what you say Sayogi Kevalin. So that's what it is there. So now for this question, how do you write it? Because it is saying examine the concept of karma according to Jainism. Directly write, because it is a 10-marked question. Start writing what do you mean by karma. So and say that they have a moral bearing. And Jainism, because you see that the Ghatya and Aghatya karmas are there, it means they are not in line with the Akriyavad or the theory of fatalism, which says that everything is destined. So you doing anything or nothing will not have a bearing on your liberation. So you can directly start from the beginning that the Jaina theory of karma is against Akriyavad or the theory of fatalism, and it says that the karma can be a major determinant of your pace and of your capability to get liberation or the cavalier. So this is something that you can write, and then it is then you can just define what are the karmas, Ghatya and Aghatya karma, and then it asks how does it bear upon their conception of liberation. This is there directly in the in the theory that Ghatya makes your liberation very difficult and Aghatya has no bearing on the liberation, and you can write that they are part of like a Sayogi and Ayogi Kevalim, because when a person gets the knowledge of liberation, the cavalier, he still remains there, and what happens with him is the karmas of Aghatya karma. So this does not take away the liberation from him. So you can mention this point, and then you can say, and when even when the Aghatya karmas get exhausted, then he gets the the liberation without the body, and that is the Ayogi Kevalin. Okay, so this you can write. So basically, this is something that you will write, and after that, what you say, please tell, is there any parallels in the Indian philosophy with other parts? So you can see that that you can directly write that we also have something like Adrast in other philosophy, which says again that they also believe in the theory of karmas, which is a bit similar to Jainism, and you can conclude, and you can say that this has a moral bearing because it makes a person very ethical one. So it has a moral bearing which is very much important for the Jaina philosophy. The next is explain the difference between Sampragnata Samadhi and Asampragnata Samadhi. It is a very direct question. Directly start writing what do you mean by Samadhi. So you can write Samadhi is the final step of Ashtanga Yoga, which gives us the knowledge of Viveka Khyati. We have discussed what is Viveka Khyati. Viveka Khyati is right knowledge, which entails the separation of Prakriti from the Purusha. So in one introduction, you wrote everything about Samadhi. Then directly jump to the difference between Sampragnata and Asampragnata. You can make a line over there and you can write it there. In fact, in the notes of Mumukshu of Yoga, I have given around 4 differences. You can expand it a bit, and it is a very direct concept. You can mention the 6 types of Sampragnata and the 2 types of Asampragnata, that is Savitarka, Nirvitarka, Savichara, Nirvichara, Sahasmita and Sahananda. And in the here it is Bhav Pratyaya and Upaya Pratyaya Samadhi. In the Asampragnata, there are different names: Sabija, Nirvija, Savikalpak, Nirvikalpak. So you can mention all the different names. You can mention that Alamban is there in Sampragnata, whereas Alamban is not there in Asampragnata. So this is a very direct question. Please write and end it. It's saying that the ultimate goal is that of liberation. Of whom? Of the Purusha from the Prakriti. And the reflection that is there, and you can directly end it also with the Yogascha Chitta Vritti Nirodha. You can write the main goal of yoga is to cease the modifications of Chitta, seize the vrittis of Chitta. and this helps in seizing the modifications of chitta. You can directly end it over there in the conclusion. Okay. Now again the next is, why is memory not a valid knowledge according to Mimamsa? Okay, so basically this is a very technical question, and I feel that if you don't know it, it is very difficult to write. But however, let me tell you that Mimamsa follows, you must be knowing, that it is mostly the Swatah Pramanyavad, that the intrinsic validity of the knowledge. It is not the correspondence theory of knowledge like the Nayakas follow. So it is intrinsic validity of knowledge, for means no knowledge is false, in a very colloquial language, that every knowledge that is generated, the knowledge itself is true by the source of it. Okay, you don't need to correspond it, that whether if it is happening in the world, then only it is true. So to satisfy those things, they have given, there are 4 points, there are 4 criteria for a valid cognition. And here, so basically you must be asking, sir, the question is, why is memory not a valid knowledge? I am coming to that. I am trying to make you understand the things. So they are telling, for a cognition to be valid, there are 4 criteria. The criteria are, one is karana dosha rahita. That means what you say, dosha means it is defect. It is saying that the cognition should not be defective. Then it is saying the second is badhaka jnana rahita, that the knowledge should not be self-contradicting. If the knowledge is self-contradicting, for a means I have said something and in the next moment I will say inside the room that it is a very hot day, and when I go out I see that it is raining. So it is self-contradictory, because the knowledge I have after that, I am contradicting myself. So the valid cognition should be badhaka jnana rahita. The third is agrihitaha grahi. This is, the idea must be novel, and this is the point which you should write while refuting the memory or the smriti in Mimamsa, because they will be using this point. These 4 points that I am telling, the 4 points of valid cognition, is given by Kumar Bhatta, and he says that in the third point, that is the agrahita grahi, that is, there must be novelty. And we will discuss that later. I am just telling the 4th point, it is yathartha. That means the knowledge must truly represent the object. So our point of here, that how and why they refute memory, is that because, for example, if I am having a memory of something for a car I have seen, it means that I have seen the car earlier, and now I am just remembering the previous cognition or the previous knowledge. So is there a novelty over here? Is there a newness over here? There is no newness over here, because I have apprehended the car in the earlier. I have the anubhuti. Apprehension is anubhuti. I have the anubhuti of the car in the beforehand, in the earlier stages. That's why there is no knowledge that is having now. So that's why it is violating this third principle, that the agrahita grahi principle of the valid cognition. That's why memory is not a valid source of knowledge as per Mimamsa. And you will see that later on Prabhakar gives Akhyativad, and it tries to justify Akhyativad, that is the theory of error of Prabhakar, and it tries to justify the Swatah Pramanyavad by taking the help of memory. That is the reason, because they are using memory as so in Akhyativad, what does they say? That the error is not in the logical form, it is due to the partial truth. For example, they say that here there are 2 things happening. For example, if I see a seashell and I confuse it with the silver, then I will say that this is silver. So here there are 2 things. One is this, and another is silver. What is this? This is the perception part. About what I have seen, actually seen, I have seen a seashell. But I am telling this is silver. What is silver? This is the memory part. Here Prabhakar is bringing memory over here. Prabhakar is bringing memory and saying that due to memory, this Akhyativad is happening. So this is something that there is no error, because if they will violate error, then they will violate the Swatah Prama. If they will accept the error as a point of what you say, commission, then they are accepting error. So they will go away from the Swatah Pramanyavad. That's why what they are saying, that no, the error that we are saying is not error as such. It is only partial truth. And why the partial truth is happening? Because we are confusing our perception with the memory. And here that's why they say that we have not accepted memory also as valid cognition. So here the cognition is being misrepresented or confused with memory, and that's why this thing is happening. So this is something that you must know, and they say it as smriti promotion. Okay, and they say that the error is not a single psychosis, rather there are 2 things that are happening. One is cognition and another is memory. When they are overlapping, when we are confusing the cognition with the memory, then we have Akhyativad, and it is a Prabhakar, okay, of Mimamsa school. Hope you are clear with it. So now, in fact, you can directly write over this, and you can please give the justification of Akhyativad. Bring the Akhyativad, because this will show the impact or the implications of refuting the memory in the school of Mimamsa. Okay. Now, the D, point out significance of 5-fold difference in dualistic school of Vedanta. So here they are asking the Panchavidha Ved. And if you write only the Panchavidha Ved and say all these things, Jiva and all those things, you will not get good marks, because they are asking what is the significance of fivefold difference. So here the best way is to directly start what is Panchavidha Ved. Directly start that Panchavidha Ved is the fivefold differences that are propounded by Madhvacharya in the dualistic school of philosophy, wherein they say that the Brahman is the supreme and Chit Achit are there. You write in single introduction, you are mentioning the whole of the philosophy over there. Then directly come what is the significance. Make a box sideware and please mention all the fivefold differences, the Veda between the God and soul and all those things, Panchavidha Ved. Now what is the significance of Panchavidha Ved? This is very important, and you must be knowing the first thing is they are describing the whole world as Prapancha. And what is Prapancha? The Prapancha is the fivefold differences. In fact, just a minute, the world which is made out of this fivefold distinction is Prapancha. So with this Prapancha, they are describing the world, number one thing. They are making something as an object of devotion. If, for example, Shankaracharya what he says? He says that the Brahma Brahmaiva Bhavati. He says that I am Brahma, I am Atma Brahma. That is there in the Vedic and Upanishads, that Aham Brahmasmi. If I am that Brahman, there is no need of devotion. How do I satisfy my devotional needs? Here, Madhvacharya, by doing this, he is making someone a Brahman, or the Narayan, or whatever he says, of a person worthy of devotion. This is something there. Then it is making the school realistic. He is making the school realistic. He is not refuting the reality as such. He is saying they are dependent entities, but they are real. They are not like the Mayavad of Shankaracharya. So this is very important. And what is that? He is propounding the dualistic school. And you can always write that this is enriched the Indian philosophy via a different, by providing a counter perspective to the expansive Advaita Vedanta. And these are some of the differences. Further, you can write about the liberation, the Samipya, Salokya, Sajuja, and all those things. You can mention and you can say all the differences. You can say about the Bheda. Because Shankaracharya has said that the Brahman is devoid of Sajatya, Vijatya, and Swagata Bhed. But here this person, Madhvacharya, is saying that it is Panchavidha Ved. So see, there are some certain differences. And these differences have enriched the Indian philosophy. And that's why this is very important. And please write about them. Okay. So that is there, and you please write about them, point out this, because he is asking the significance. If you will only write the Panchavidha Ved and directly go to liberation of soul and all, you will not get good marks. Please try to think of the liberation. Because see, how do you think of the dimensions? In this case, please think about the metaphysics. What is metaphysics? God, soul, and world. So please say, does this Panchavidha Ved has any reference with respect to the God, has with respect to the soul, has any reference with respect to the world? And if you get all those points, please mention them, because I must be forgetting something. If you think you will get more points, you can say whether he says that some of the things are, some of the souls are eternally doomed and damned. So you can say he is bringing out the things of evil. And he says that evil is always evil. No matter what they do, they cannot get liberation. So there are some relevance in the contextual world also. So please try to think and please write it. Okay. Now the fifth is discuss the nature and types of matter according to Nimbark. Again, the Nimbark philosophy, you must be knowing, it is the Bheda Bheda philosophy or Dvaita Advaita philosophy, or is the dualistic non-dualism. It is the mixture of duality and non-dualism. It is a difference and non-difference from Ishwar. So this is something he is saying, that because you will say that most of the theory part of it has been borrowed from Ramanuja. It is more or less similar to qualified monism or the Visishta Advaita of Ramanuja. There are some differences, and it is here directly asking, just a minute, that discuss the nature and types of matter. So he also again says that Ishwar is there is Chit and Achit. Chit is Gyan Swarup and Achit is of three types. This is what it is asking, because the lifeless matter. He says one is Aprakrit, another is Prakrita, and another is Kala. Kala is time. Aprakrita is the immutable divine body. It can be compared with the Suddha Saswat, Suddha Sattva, or the Nitya Vibhuti of Ramanuj. What is Prakriti? Prakriti is something that is made out of Prakriti. It is made out of the Parinam of the Prakriti. Because he says again, he follows the Parinamvad. He says that the world is made out of Prakriti, Parinam of Prakriti. Okay, so again what he says, that Chit, Achit are dependent on Ishwar. You cannot say them that they are independent, and that's why he says that they have a Paratantra Satta Bhava. Paratantra means they are subordinated. Swatantra is independent, Paratantra is they are dependent on them. And what he says, that the relation is Swabhavik Veda Veda. So this is something that you must remember. They are existent but separate, but they are dependent. This is important. Again, he gives the example of Dharmi Dharma Bhava and he says that Krishna and Radha are the ultimate entities who must be revered and all those things, Okay, so basically write about this. I know this is a bit over the head question, but if you write all those things, you will get above average and above average marks, because this is not something that everyone will write. You have a relative advantage over here. In fact, there are 4 to 5 schools extra after Vedant. You just need to have a cursory glance over them, and they will ask very simple questions on that. Please write them down and you will get good marks. Okay, now it is asking, how is Shanikvad a logical derivative of Pratitya Samutpad in Buddhism? This is a very direct question. I don't feel even there is a need to describe it, because it is there in every book, every standard textbook. Please say what is Pratitya Samutpad, from what Chatvari Arya Satyan it is described. In fact, you can start it from the Pratitya Samutpad. It is the Dharma Chakra, it is the Bhav Chakra, and all those things, and you can directly come to the Kshanikvad, the theory of momentariness, and you can say about what exactly is Kshanikvad and how it is derived from Pratitya Samutpad. It is very direct question. If the time and space permits, you can go to Arthkriyavad, Arthkriya Karitva, Santanvad, Sanghatvad. Just mention cursorily, briefly about them, and directly go to the again, when you are writing Kshanikvad, please write the criticisms of it, because again the main part of this is, you in 1.5 pages or 2 pages, please say how Shanikvad is being derived from Pratitya Samutpad, then go to their criticism. Say Akritanash and Akritabhyapagama, which is there, and please again, if possible, try to compare it with the Western philosophy. And in Western philosophy, you will find striking relevance with Hume, the theory of momentariness, the flux, in fact with the Heraclitus, which says that you cannot bathe in the same river twice. The change is the only constant. So something like that, and please conclude it accordingly as per the answer. Now, that's the second question is of 6, is critically evaluate Charvak's rejection of Akash as one of the element of reality and examine their criticism of transmigration of soul. Again, this is a very direct question. You can say, always you can cite that the whole soul problem of this transmigration of soul and rejection of Akash comes in Charvak just because they don't believe in inference. They only believe in Pratyaksh. And you can write that believe in Pratyaksh, Pratyakshamevam ekam pramanam. Then you say logically that they don't believe in inference and they don't believe in anything that cannot be perceived. Akash is something which cannot be perceived but can be experientially felt. It is the substratum which holds everything else. So if you don't accept it, if you don't believe perception, you will not believe Akash, and it is a very logical outcome of Charvak's epistemology that they are denying Akash in its metaphysics. And please write the standard thing that they don't believe in inference and that's why they reject Akash. And you can cite, it's just as they reject Dharma, Moksha, Adrast, God, heaven, soul, all those things. You can write, just write. It's cursory. But the main focus should be how they are rejecting Akash. And please use the word Akash some number of times while writing. And then they are saying that examine their criticism of transmigration of soul. Again, they are saying that just because they don't believe in inference, they don't believe in eternal soul, which cannot be perceived. So what do they say? Na Chaitanya Visishta Dehameva Atma. This body with the Chaitanya, with the consciousness, is the Atma. There is no Atma other than that. So there is no need of transmigration because they don't believe in an eternal soul. You can also write, make a box, you can write that what do they believe as soul? There are Pranavadins, there are Atma Manovadins, there are Indriyavadins. They differently believe in the different types of souls. But they say that the transmigration of soul is not happening. Why? Because this body is there, the Dehatmavad, the Bhut Chaitanyavad. When Sukhameva Swargaha, Dukhameva Narka, Maranameva Apavarga. They are saying with death we get liberation. So there is no need of transmigration. That another thing that what do you say? Yavad Jivet Sukham Jivet Ranam Kritva Gritam Pivet Bhasma Bhutasya Dehasya Punaragamana Kuta. He says that the Bhasma Bhutasya Dehasya, when this body is gone, everything is gone. So they don't believe in this transmigration of soul, and there are very standard criticisms of that. Please write that, and there are very good criticisms. In fact, if you want, you can compare it with some of the existentialists and with empiricists of Western philosophy, and you will get very good marks because this is a very direct questions, and you have a lot of spaces where you can use Sanskrit terms. Please use them very generously. Okay. Then explain the concepts of Anyatha Siddhi and Ananyatha Siddha in the context of Asatkaryavad. Again, this is something that was over the head for most of us, but in C.D. Sarma it is given very directly, and this is something I feel that we should read because see, Satkaryavad you have read very detailed in Sankhya philosophy, and you know Asatkaryavad you have to read because if you are reading one part of it, the other part must be read. And in Asatkaryavad comes with Anyatha Siddhi and Ananyatha Siddhi. Siddha. I am just telling you the points. Please note them down. If you feel the need, you can read it from C.D. Sarma, Chandradhar Sarma book. Very beautifully explained. I am just telling you from there itself. Okay. Now again here they say that Anyatha Siddha. So here the point comes because they believe in Asatkaryavad, that is the Arambhavad. So that they say is that the effect is not identical to the cause. Effect is a new beginning. Effect is an epigenesis. Use the word epigenesis. And this is important. They say that cause is defined as an unconditional and invariable consequent of a consequent of a cause. So what they are saying that what you say, the unconditional invariable, this thing, and what you say, then effect is defined as an unconditional and invariable consequence of a cause, because you say that they say for every cause there is an effect. You cannot say that there are plurality of causes for an effect, because they say that cause and effect is a reciprocal relation. For a mathematics student, you must be knowing there is a term called relation. There is a theory called relation, where there is one-to-one relation. The cause and effect is similar to that. There cannot be plurality of this thing. And here they are saying that there are some characteristics of causes. Because again, please remember, this is a Satkaryavad school. Here they are telling that the effect is not identical to the cause. That's why they have to make the cause, they have to give such proofs for the cause, so that even there must be some difference with the effect. Because if the effect is identical with the cause, or you can correlate the effect with the cause, then it becomes Satkaryavad school. So see, for that they are putting some of the characteristics of cause, because they will not accept all those things where the cause and effect are identical, and they will say that this is the cause, because it will again end up in Satkaryavad. See the thing, see the mindset, why they are doing all those things. Okay. Now the characteristics are, number one is Purvavritti, that is the cause must precede the effect, that we must know. You cannot say that the child is older than the mother. The mother should be older than the child. The cause must precede effect. Then the next is Niyata Purvavritti, that is invariability. That means that the cause and effect must be invariably related. You cannot say that they are variably related. And you cannot say that this happens sometimes, the next time it doesn't happen. Because then the cause and effect relation is not invariable. It should not be subjected to variability. And the third is Ananyatha Siddha, which is asked in the question. So Ananyatha Siddha is what? You can say that Ananyatha Siddha is a characteristic of cause given in the Asatkaryavad school of causation by the Nyayikas. You can write this line. Here you are including everything. Okay. Now it says that it is not conditional. That means the cause should not be conditional. Cause should be unconditional. Because we know that if the cause is conditional, then it is not sure that it will give the same effect all the time. If the condition changes, then the effect will change. So here we are getting plurality of causes. That means the cause effect relation is not reciprocal, which is against the Asatkaryavad school. Please try to understand. Okay. So so by this they are excluding the fallacy of remote cause. So why remote cause? It implies that immediate and direct antecedents. For example, I'll tell you that, for example, I'm a potter. I'm making a pot. My father is always standing near me whenever I'm making a pot. So you cannot say that my father is the cause of the pot, just because he is the cause of the cause, because he is my cause. Are you getting? So here we are removing the fallacy of remote cause, because he is remote cause. Yet for every instance of the pot making, he stands near it. So, but you cannot say that he is the cause of that thing, because he is the cause of the cause. So please try to understand. There must be immediacy. You cannot say that just because he stands that he is making the pot, because I am doing the immediate thing. I am immediately there with it. So that is the reason. So what are the three things? One is the Purvavritti, Niyatavritti and Ananyatha Siddha. They are the characteristics of a cause, and which makes a cause very important as in a Satkaryavad school. And you can quote some correspondence with the Western, like J.S. Mill and Hume have defined it in certain ways, and Carveth Red has said that unconditionality implies immediacy, which is in line with the Nyaya school of the Asatkaryavad and the cause characteristics. And please note, Ananyatha Siddhi is unconditionality, and in fact Carveth Red is saying that unconditionality, what Nyaya says, that immediacy, Carveth Red of Western philosophy also concurs with that in his philosophy. Now it is asking in another term, that is the Anyatha Siddha. Anyatha Siddha is 5 kinds of accidental antecedent. For example, there may be many things which are happening when a cause is doing the effect. But you cannot say that all those things are the cause of that effect, because they are not the real cause. They are only accidental cause. They are present there by chance. For example, I will give you the examples and you will be very clear. Nyaya school says in Asatkaryavad there are 5 such Anyatha Siddha. And what are they? The number one is the quality of the cause. For example, a potter is making the wheel. But you cannot, and for every time he makes a wheel, he uses his staff to rotate the potting wheel. You cannot say that the color of the potter's wheel is responsible for the pot. But every time the potter makes the pot, that the color is there. The quality of the staff, quality of the stick that he uses is always there. But they are not the direct cause. This is number one. Number two is the cause of the cause. The remote fallacy, what we say, the fallacy of remote cause. That father, my father, who is the cause of the cause, is not the cause of the immediate effect, because it implies it is violating the principle of unconditionality, that is ananyatha siddha. Are you getting? Then the number three is co-effect. For example, every time I make a pot, before that there is a sound that will happen, because the moment I will touch the stick with the wheel of the pot and I will try to rotate, there will be some sound, gad, 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 gad. But every time before I make the wheel, this sound comes. But you cannot say that this sound is the cause of the pot. This is a mere co-effect. And the fourth is eternal substance. For example, every time I make a pot, the space is there, my house is there, the soil is there, the sand is there. But can you say that they are the causes of the pot? No, they are not the causes. And what it is saying, that fifth is unnecessary things. Like, for example, every time I make the pot, my cow or my goat or my ass is always there, who is used to carry all those things. But it is an unnecessary thing. It is not a cause. Okay, so you see that Anyatha Siddha is telling that what are all the 5 accidental things that might be there, invariably, unconditionally there when the effect is happening, but they are not the real cause. And this is Anyatha Siddha. So again, what cause is? So here the definition of cause comes. Cause is something or some total of conditions, both positive and negative. And here they are using the term called Karana Samagri. Cause is the Karana Samagri, that is the unconditional, invariable antecedent condition. Use these terms and you will get good marks. Then that is when there is absence of negative counteracting conditions. But that is when for a effect to happen, there must be absence of all those obstructions. And that is said that the Pratibandhak Bhav. This is there in Shri Sharma. You can look that and you can write this. So we wanted to discuss question number 5 and 6. We have discussed it very comprehensively. In fact, after that, you can also write a brief criticism of this, of a Satkaryavad school by Samkhya, that is the Satkaryavad school. In fact, if you want, you can quote some of the slokas or by Ishwar Krishna about the Satkaryavad school, and you can write them, and that will complete the answer more or less, make a very holistic and complete answer. So in this way, you can write this answer, and this is going to be a very good answer. And please try to think on all those lines, but if a person is telling, why he is telling, and this will help you a lot while writing the answers. So thank you again. Namaskar. Have a good day and stay happy, stay safe. We will take another session on the rest of the remaining questions and we'll move on. Thank you again for joining this Sannidhan session. Namaskar. Hope it helped you. Thank you.